Most Americans do not realize how close they are to financial exhaustion. In 2026, the average household spends over 42% of income just keeping a roof overhead. That means nearly half your life energy is traded for shelter. People are not building futures anymore. They are managing survival. But outside the crowded cities and influencer mountain resorts, there is a forgotten layer of America where the housing crisis never fully arrived. These are working mountain towns where industry left, populations shrank, and prices quietly collapsed. Places where your biggest expense can finally loosen its grip. Welcome back to Inside the States. Today we are uncovering small mountain towns where Americans are reclaiming control over their budgets and their lives. These are not fantasy destinations. These are real communities where people are already living on less, stressing less, and breathing more. Before we begin, take a moment to subscribe to Inside the States. This channel exists to show real paths out of the rent trap, and your subscription helps us keep finding these places before developers move in. Now, let us begin. Mountain town number 10 is Salida Outlying Areas, Colorado. Salida itself has become a playground for tourists and second home buyers, with downtown rents pushing past $2,000 in 2026. But just outside town, the story changes dramatically. 5 to 15 minutes down quiet dirt roads, you enter a completely different economy. Here, older mobile homes, basement apartments, and rustic mountain cabins still rent for around $900 per month. That is nearly 45% lower than comparable mountain towns across Colorado. By choosing the outskirts instead of the postcard center, residents keep an extra $1,000 or more in their pocket every month. Buying follows the same pattern. While the median home inside Salida now exceeds $600,000, the surrounding areas still offer fixer cabins, small acreage parcels, and aging structures under $300,000. These homes are not polished. They come with creaky floors, outdated kitchens, and dirt driveways. But they also come with mountain views, open skies, and zero HOA pressure. People here build slowly, repair what they can, and create homes that reflect effort instead of luxury branding. For those arriving with little money, Salida's outskirts operate on a quiet barter economy. Many properties belong to wealthy seasonal residents who only visit a few weeks each year. They need someone to keep snow cleared, watch for wildlife, and make sure pipes do not freeze. In exchange, they offer free guest houses or fully equipped Airstream setups. Local horse ranches and organic farms also provide work for housing arrangements, where about 20 hours of weekly labor covers rent, utilities, and often food. In 2026, this model is becoming increasingly common as landowners realize reliable humans are more valuable than empty buildings. Salida attracts mountain bikers, rafters, remote professionals using satellite internet, and people who rejected luxury living in favor of low-burn lifestyles. This town is for those who would rather wear work boots than carry debt. It proves that Colorado is still accessible if you are willing to live slightly outside the spotlight. Mountain town number 9 is Jellicoe, Tennessee. Jellicoe sits quietly in the Cumberland Mountains near the Kentucky border. Once powered by coal mining, the town lost its industry decades ago. What remains is something rare in modern America: extremely low housing costs and a strong sense of neighborly culture. In 2026, average rent in Jellicoe hovers around $470 per month, over 70% below the national average. Homes regularly sell between $30,000 and $50,000. That means ownership is achievable without a lifetime mortgage. Many residents own their homes outright, passing properties through generations rather than banks. Jellicoe also offers one of the strongest caretaker economies in Appalachia. The population here is older than average, and many seniors need help with daily tasks. Live-in caregiver arrangements provide private rooms or small apartments in exchange for light housekeeping, meal preparation, or companionship. Churches and nonprofit organizations also run housing programs that provide zero-cost living for essential workers and community volunteers. Life in Jellicoe moves slowly. People grow gardens, neighbors share tools, kids ride bikes on quiet streets. With housing pressure removed, residents focus on relationships instead of rent. This town appeals to healthcare workers seeking balance, young families escaping debt, and remote workers who discovered that peace increases productivity. In Jellicoe, your paycheck stops disappearing before you even see it. Mountain town number 8 is Ruidoso Downs, New Mexico. High in southern New Mexico, Ruidoso Downs lives in the shadow of its more famous neighbor, Ruidoso. While tourists flood the ski village and boutique shops, the Downs quietly holds on to affordability. In 2026, studios and one-bedroom apartments here range from $650 to $1,000, placing them nearly 50% below the national average. Small mountain homes remain accessible to working-class buyers, offering pine forests, cool summers, and wide-open skies without resort pricing. What makes Ruidoso Downs special is its massive horse racing and ranching economy. The famous racetrack and surrounding properties constantly need stable hands, night watchers, and caretakers. Many ranches provide free cabins or trailer hookups in exchange for feeding horses, maintaining fences, or watching properties overnight. For people willing to work physically, rent becomes optional. This town draws outdoor minimalists, remote professionals seeking low-tax living, and quiet Americans who value space over status. Residents hike in Lincoln National Forest, shop at local markets, and live without the pressure of tourist-driven prices. Ruidoso Downs offers a slower pace with real mountain access and a budget that finally breathes. If these 3 towns already opened your eyes, stay with Inside the States. The next locations push affordability even further into forgotten Appalachia and high desert frontiers. Comment mountains if you want part 2, and subscribe to Inside the States so you never miss hidden places like these. Freedom starts with knowing where to go. Mountain town number 7 is Alamosa County, Colorado. Alamosa County sits inside the vast San Luis Valley, surrounded by towering peaks and endless high desert plains. While most of Colorado has transformed into an expensive outdoor showroom, Alamosa remains raw, windy, and financially accessible. Life here is not polished. Winters bite hard, winds sweep across open land, and the landscape demands resilience. But for those who can handle nature's intensity, Alamosa offers something increasingly rare in 2026: space, silence, and affordable shelter. Average one-bedroom rent in Alamosa now sits around $800 per month, nearly 50% lower than the national average. For buyers, the median home price floats near $300,000, but that number drops sharply outside town. Rural parcels with multiple acres still sell for under $10,000 in some areas. That means you can own land in Colorado for less than the price of a used sedan. Many properties come with well water access and solar potential, allowing residents to live with minimal monthly bills. What truly sets Alamosa apart is its caretaker economy. Seasonal cabin owners, off-grid homesteaders, and retirees with large properties frequently seek live-in help. In 2026, work for housing arrangements are widespread. 10 to 15 hours a week of snow removal, fence repair, or property monitoring often secures free housing, whether in a small cabin, guest house, or RV site. Some arrangements even include utilities. For people arriving with empty bank accounts, this becomes an immediate reset button. Alamosa attracts remote workers using satellite internet, modern homesteaders building earth-friendly homes, and individuals who would rather face snowstorms than landlords. It is not glamorous. There are no luxury malls, but there is freedom. Alamosa is for people who value peace over popularity and financial breathing room over social status. Mountain town number 6 is Silver City, New Mexico. Silver City rests near the edge of the Gila Wilderness, surrounded by rugged mountains and glowing desert skies. Once a booming mining town, it reinvented itself as a creative and outdoor sanctuary. While Santa Fe and Taos charge premium prices for culture, Silver City delivers art, history, and nature at working-class costs. In 2026, average one-bedroom rent here hovers around $530 per month, roughly 70% lower than the national average. Median home prices sit near $150,000, making ownership possible for teachers, artists, retirees, and remote professionals alike. Many homes are historic adobes or simple bungalows with mountain views, often owned outright by longtime residents. Silver City also runs on a quiet barter system. As a designated arts district, it hosts galleries, studios, and cultural centers that frequently offer live work exchanges. Residents trade skills like carpentry, social media, teaching, or gallery supervision for housing. Some arrangements include utilities and studio space. In 2026, creative residencies and caretaker roles are expanding, allowing newcomers to enter the community without traditional rent. The town draws painters, photographers, retirees, and digital workers who want sunlight without stress. People gather at local cafes, hike wilderness trails, and attend small-town festivals. Silver City is not for mall lovers or nightlife seekers. It is for those who want beauty without bankruptcy and community without competition. Mountain town number 5 is Pine Ridge area near Red River Gorge, Kentucky. Deep in Appalachian, Kentucky, Pine Ridge sits beside one of America's most dramatic natural landscapes. While most of the country fights over overpriced real estate, this region stayed protected by steep ridges and old traditions. Homes here were never treated as investment vehicles. They remained shelters. In 2026, average rents in Pine Ridge hover around $500 per month, nearly 75% lower than national figures. Median home values in the surrounding hills sit close to $66,000. Many families own their homes outright, passed down through generations. Property taxes remain extremely low, and monthly housing costs rarely exceed basic utilities. Pine Ridge operates on usefulness, not resumes. Aging landowners with large acreage regularly exchange housing for help with gardens, fences, firewood, or livestock. Secondary cabins and vintage farmhouses are offered rent-free in return for labor. If you can manage a chainsaw, plant vegetables, or maintain trails, you can live here with almost no cash income. This area attracts extreme budgeters, outdoor guides, climbers, and people who consciously stepped off the modern financial treadmill. Residents grow food, share tools, and rely on neighbors instead of credit cards. Pine Ridge offers something most Americans forgot existed: housing without pressure. These towns are proof that another America still lives in the mountains. They do believe in work, but they do not believe in financial slavery. Comment mountains if you want part 2, and subscribe to Inside the States to stay connected to places where freedom still fits inside a small budget. Mountain town number 4 is Bishop Fringe Areas, California. Most people think California automatically means impossible housing, but on the outskirts of Bishop, tucked into the high desert of the Eastern Sierra, that assumption collapses. While downtown Bishop caters to tourists, climbers, and weekend travelers, the fringe communities just outside town live in a completely different financial reality. Places like Big Pine and nearby unincorporated areas have remained untouched by California's worst housing inflation. In 2026, while the statewide average rent pushes past $1,600, Bishop's fringe areas still offer simple cottages and rural mobile homes for around $970 per month. That is nearly 40% lower than the California average. Buying is also far more accessible than most of the state, with many older properties selling at roughly 1/3 below California's median home price. These are not luxury homes. They are functional desert mountain dwellings with views of the Sierra Nevada and access to open land. What makes Bishop's outskirts especially powerful is the ranch-steward economy. Much of Owens Valley consists of large ranch properties and seasonal recreational estates. Owners often need someone to maintain irrigation lines, check fences, or watch over climbing retreats while they are away. In 2026, many property holders provide free cabins or fully equipped trailers in exchange for part-time stewardship. For climbers, hikers, artists, and remote workers, this creates a pathway to live rent-free in one of California's most dramatic landscapes. Life here is quiet and intentional. Residents wake to mountain light, shop at small markets, and spend evenings under open skies. Bishop Fringe attracts world-class climbers. digital professionals seeking silence, and people who realize that success in California does not mean Malibu. It means owning your time in the high desert. Mountain town number 3 is Haywood County Rural Zones, North Carolina. Asheville has become the symbol of the New South, filled with craft breweries and $3,000 studio apartments. But 30 minutes outside the city, tucked into winding roads and forested ridges, Haywood County's rural zones tell a very different story. Communities like Fines Creek, Iron Duff, and the outskirts of Clyde exist beyond Asheville's financial gravity. In 2026, while Asheville rents average nearly $1,700, rural Haywood County still offers unrenovated cabins and inherited farmhouses for around $600 per month. That is roughly 65% cheaper than the nearby city. Many homes rely on wood heat, allowing residents to eliminate winter heating bills entirely if they are willing to split firewood. Utility costs remain low, and many properties sit on private wells. This region operates on caretaker culture. Wealthy outsiders own vacation homes scattered across steep terrain, while aging locals struggle to maintain large properties. In response, live-in steward arrangements have quietly expanded. 10 to 15 hours per week of mowing fields, maintaining gravel roads, or providing security often secures guest houses or renovated barns at zero rent. Haywood County rural zones attract remote workers who visit Asheville on weekends, outdoor professionals who want access to the Smokies, and independent souls who value debt-free living over modern convenience. Here, luxury is not countertops. It is watching fog rise off mountain valleys without worrying about rent hikes. Mountain town number 2 is Crestone, Colorado. Crestone sits in a remote pocket beneath some of Colorado's most dramatic peaks, surrounded by spiritual centers, unfinished subdivisions, and vast open land. Developers abandoned this area decades ago, leaving behind platted neighborhoods that were never fully built. What emerged instead is a sanctuary for minimalists, spiritual seekers, and people who intentionally stepped away from mainstream systems. In 2026, average monthly living costs for a single person in Crestone hover around $950. But in the surrounding Baca Grande zones, off-grid residents often live on less than $400 per month, including solar upkeep and well water. Median home prices remain roughly 20% below national averages, with raw land and small cabins still widely available. Crestone operates on a unique volunteer economy. Dozens of retreat centers, ashrams, and spiritual communities regularly offer housing in exchange for kitchen help, gardening, guest services, or basic construction. About 20 hours per week typically covers lodging, meals, and utilities. For people without savings, this provides a rare doorway into mountain living without rent. Crestone attracts off-grid builders, writers, coders, and modern hermits seeking quiet. There are no shopping malls. There is no nightlife. There is silence, stars, and a community built around simplicity. Crestone is for those who understand that the greatest cost in life is stress, not shelter. Mountain town number 1 is Welch, West Virginia. Welch sits deep in the mountains of McDowell County, a place once known as Little New York during the coal boom of the 1940s. Back then, streets were packed, storefronts were alive, and opportunity filled the air. But when coal disappeared, everything else followed. What remains today is a quiet town slowly being reclaimed by forests and time. And while that sounds tragic, for modern pioneers in 2026, it represents one of the most extreme affordability opportunities left in America. Housing here does not feel real when you first see the numbers. 3-bedroom homes with solid foundations and historical character regularly sell between $15,000 and $30,000. That is not a down payment. That is full ownership. Renting is equally shocking, with average monthly housing costs hovering around $500. Property taxes are so low, they barely register on annual budgets. Compared to coastal cities where people spend over $30,000 per year on rent alone, Welch allows residents to own shelter outright for the price of a used car. The trade-off is employment. Local jobs are limited, the mines are gone, and downtown is quiet. To live here successfully, you bring your income with you. Welch is built for remote workers, digital creatives, and anyone whose paycheck does not depend on local industry. In 2026, satellite internet has changed everything. High-speed connections now reach homes that cost less than a studio apartment deposit in major cities. West Virginia has also actively encouraged newcomers through relocation programs, offering incentives worth up to $12,000 for remote workers willing to settle in mountain communities. That means some residents are being paid to move into houses they already bought for less than $25,000. Welch attracts debt-crushed graduates who want to erase student loans in 2 years. It attracts writers who need silence to finish books. It attracts adventurers who want direct access to the Hatfield-McCoy Trail system and untouched Appalachian wilderness. Welch is not about growth. It is about recovery. It is where people go to reset their lives, rebuild finances, and rediscover quiet. This town proves something powerful. You do not need luxury to live well. You need stability, shelter, and space to breathe. And that brings us to the truth behind this entire list. These towns will not give you designer coffee shops or rooftop pools. They offer fewer jobs, slower nights, and simpler living. But they also offer something far more valuable in 2026. Relief. No landlord panic, no surprise rent hikes, no paycheck disappearing before you touch it. In these mountain communities, your biggest expense fades into the background, and life starts to feel human again. If you are tired of working just to afford shelter, remember this. Another America still exists. It lives in forgotten valleys, quiet ridges, and overlooked towns where people matter more than profit. Comment mountains if you want a deeper part, 2 with even quieter and cheaper places. And make sure you subscribe to Inside the States, because escaping the system starts with knowing where to go. Your freedom is not gone. It is just hiding in the mountains.